Russian President Vladimir Putin had a call on Tuesday with Chinese President Xi Jinping, as both leaders prepare to deal with U.S. President Donald Trump. The two leaders emphasized their strong personal ties, which Putin said do not depend on the current international environment.
Совместно выступаем за построение более справедливого многополярного миропорядка. Ведем работу в интересах обеспечения неделимой безопасности на евразийском пространстве и в мире в целом.
At the same time, Xi expressed hope for positive ties with the U.S. in a call he had with Trump on Friday, something China's foreign ministry spokesperson restated after Trump's inauguration.
中方愿意按照相互尊重、和平共处、合作共赢的原则，同美方加强对话沟通，妥善管控分歧，拓展互利合作。希望美方同中方相向而行，共同推动中美经贸关系稳定、健康、可持续发展。
Russia's top diplomat said the interests of the United States haven't changed with Trump taking office.
Интерес Соединенных Штатов никогда не менялся в зависимости от того, демократы или республиканцы находятся в Белом доме. Этот интерес заключается в том, чтобы всегда быть сильнее любого конкурента.
Putin has also noted that Moscow is open to dialogue with the Trump administration on the conflict in Ukraine, emphasizing the need to respect Russia's interests.
The golden age of America begins right now. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal.
President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw the US from the Paris Climate Agreement has already raised some eyebrows within the EU. The Paris Agreement is the world's most important effort to tackle rising temperatures and is supplemented by Europe's own Green Deal and the USA's Green New Deal.
We need to react. I think it's clear that we as European Union criticize the US withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. We don't think that this is the right step forward because tackling climate change is a global challenge and we're all in this together.
The first Trump administration made a similar move in 2017, but President Joe Biden reversed this on his first day in office in 2021. In the European Parliament, opinions on the matter vary.
Majority of Greens, Social Democrats and also Christian Democrats, I think that it will be a reflection for them to change Green Deal, which is a huge obstacle for European economy to grow.
But for this MEP, there is a harsh reality to be reckoned with.
Last year, it was the hottest year ever recorded in a way. And I would like to ask Mr. Trump to see how he will deal with the Santa Ana strong winds which destroyed Los Angeles after he pulled out United States not only from the Paris climate deal but some other incentives aimed to combat climate changes.
The only thing certain is that Trump's first moves have triggered a major debate in the EU about how it should react.
The world is changing and so must Europe. The stark warning from Ursula von der Leyen to the delegates at the World Economic Forum annual gathering here in Davos, in the first time she delivered a speech since Donald Trump returned to the White House. She said that the cooperative world order we imagined 25 years ago has not turned into reality. And she also spoke about the issue of security, saying that Europe has too often outsourced its own security. But those days, she said, are gone now. Sasha Vakulina from Davos for Euronews.
As news of the new US president's first actions echoed around meeting rooms, the president of the European Commission was compelled to show unity and determination. Ursula von der Leyen, recovering from serious illness, addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos, where she said that the US and European economies are interdependent as Donald Trump has threatened to impose a tariff on European products of up to 20%.
The trade volume between us is 1.5 trillion euros, representing 30% of global trade. A lot is at stake for both sides. So, our first priority will be to engage early, discuss common interests, and be ready to negotiate. We will be pragmatic, but we will always stand by our principles. We will protect our interests and uphold our values, because that is the European way.
The president acknowledged that while the interconnected global economy was at its peak at the start of the century, it has now become fragmented. Political changes have been conducive to deepening cooperation and the EU must adapt, she said.
But the world is changing. So must we. In the last 25 years, Europe has relied on the rising tide of global trade to drive its growth. It has relied on cheap energy from Russia, and Europe has too often outsourced its own security. But those days are gone.
Von der Leyen struck a more conciliatory tone than usual on China, although the tariffs on electric cars made in China are overshadowing trade and by extension political relations. The Commission President called for deeper cooperation.
2025 marks 50 years of our Union's diplomatic relations with China. I see it as an opportunity to engage and deepen our relationship with China, and where possible, even to expand our trade and investment ties. It is time to pursue a more balanced relationship with China in a spirit of fairness and reciprocity.
Ursula von der Leyen added that in the coming weeks, the European Commission will put forward proposals on, for example, reducing burdens on businesses and extending the Capital Markets Union.
As he did during his first administration, Trump is once more pulling the U.S. out of the World Health Organization. He also ordered a comprehensive review of U.S. foreign aid spending. Both moves fit into his isolationist, America-first approach to international affairs.
So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. Pretty sad though, think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million, and China's a bigger country.
His move does not just pause the future transfer of U.S. government funds, but also recalls and reassigns federal personnel and contractors working with the organization. Many scientists fear this move could roll back decades-long gains made in fighting infectious diseases like AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. Experts also warn it could weaken the world's defenses against dangerous new outbreaks capable of triggering pandemics.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Tuesday welcomed his Armenian counterpart for bilateral talks that included the latest developments in the Armenia-Azerbaijan tensions. The meeting comes after Armenian Prime Minister repeated intention to leave the Collective Security Treaty Organization led by Russia. Lavrov said Moscow was ready to assist in the normalization of relations.
Что и в дальнейшем российская сторона будет учитывать все аспекты происходящего, избегая односторонних трактовок, которые, к сожалению, мы видели в последнее время, в последние дни.
Мы всегда ценили, продолжаем ценить братские связи с армянским народом, с Арменией, нашим естественным стратегическим партнером, союзником, и заинтересованы в том, чтобы многовековые традиции дружбы, добрососедства укреплялись и развивались.
Azerbaijan and Armenia relations have been on and off for over 3 decades since both nations fought a bloody war in the late 1980s and early 1990s.
6 people have been killed and dozens wounded in an Israeli attack on the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. The Israeli military says it was conducting a counter-terrorism operation in the area, which is known for militant activity. Jenin has been a frequent target of Israeli raids during the 15-month Israel-Hamas war. Violence in the West Bank has escalated significantly since the conflict began, with over 800 Palestinians killed in Israeli operations. Meanwhile, in Gaza, a ceasefire is holding for a third day. Many residents are returning home to find their neighborhoods in ruins.
كله حجار بطون بس حجار بطون وبس اشيل الردم بدي سنتين عشان اشيل الردم هذا والحديد وين بدنا نيجي نقعد حتى نحط خيمه مش حتزبط الخيمه نحطها كله دمار 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 لا
The United Nations reports a significant increase in aid deliveries, with over 900 trucks entering Gaza since the truce began.
More than 60 people have died and over 50 were injured after a fire broke out at a ski resort in Turkey's Bolu province. The blaze started on the restaurant floor of the 12-story resort before it quickly spread throughout the building. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but local media suggested that the wooden cladding on the exterior of the hotel may have accelerated the spread of the fire. They added that the hotel is on the side of a cliff, hampering efforts to combat the flames. 2 of the victims died after jumping from the building in a panic, according to Bolu's governor. The fire occurred during the school semester break when many skiers from Istanbul and Ankara head to the Bolu mountains. Other hotels at the resort were evacuated as a precaution, and guests were placed in hotels around Bolu.